All right, guys, today I want to take a detailed look at the Black Gold Ascent bow sight. The Ascent's kind of got a lot of custom options and a lot of little things going on with, and some people are a little just confused on how the sight operates. So I just want to kind of cover all the bases, cover how to set it up properly, how to get your sight tape together, and just talk about the sight here for a little bit. So the first thing is the Ascent is a slider sight, meaning that the entire sight housing will slide up and down. So you loosen up this lock screw, and this entire housing is going to go up and down. And the best way to set this up is you can run it 1 through 8 pins actually, but your bottom pin is what becomes your floater. So if you got a single pin, obviously your single pin is the one that you're using, but in this scenario I got 5 pins in the sight, so the bottom one is my floater. This would be set up 20 to 60 yards, and then that bottom pin, if I want to shoot 63, if I want to shoot 77, I just keep cranking the sight housing down, and it correlates with the needle on your sight tape on this side of the sight. So it's really great for guys looking to have a clear sight picture with as few pins as possible. So a really popular combination says running 3 pins in this, but that bottom third pin could take you probably all the way out to 120 yards. So it's a really good way when you're shooting long distance to be extremely accurate, so you're not gapping pins. Yeah, really accurate sight, especially for guys coming out west. You know, you're gonna be stretching the ranges a little bit. I wouldn't recommend anything different. So one thing I want to talk about Black Gold is sometimes there's a perception out there that Black Gold sights aren't quite as nice as say Spot Hogg and CBE. And really, it's more of just a aesthetics thing. If you start looking at the machining and the quality and the craftsmanship that goes into these, they're second to none. Really, the only difference is Black Gold, in an effort to make the sight more affordable for guys, because if you compare this sight feature to a Spot Hogg, this sight's going to be $50 to $100 cheaper. So Black Gold, they don't spend as much time in kind of the refining process of everything. So all these parts and pieces go into a tumbler to smooth out all the edges and make it look really pretty. Well, Black Gold doesn't do that as much as some of the other companies. So it doesn't quite look as nice, but in reality, the functionality of it and just how it's built, it's just as good as any other sight. So just kind of wanted to mention that. A lot of guys comment about, oh, Black Gold, I don't think they're not as nice, they're a little cheaper sight, and that's really not the case as far as the build quality and construction goes. So onto the sight. This is a standard Ascent that I've got on right now. When you go into custom options, there's 4 different bases to choose from and 3 different heads to choose from. And then the travel portion will remain the same on any option that you pick. As far as the bases go, this is the standard base. It's just fixed, pretty standard basic base out there. The first upgrade from that is the Vengeance base. And the Vengeance base has your 3rd axis adjustment. So when you are shooting, you know, this isn't as important shooting out of a tree stand at 20, 30 yards, but you're shooting 60, 70 yards down a really steep slope, 3rd axis is very important. And so that is your 3rd axis adjustment screw right there. What that does is actually will pivot the sight housing this way to level the sight up. I have a video review on how to set 2nd and 3rd axis. I'd definitely recommend taking a look at that. It'll be linked on the same website page as this video. Anyway, so that's the Vengeance is the first option, and then you have a 4 and a 6-inch dovetail. And the dovetail, this is a 6-inch dovetail on an Ascent Ambush, but we'll get to that. The dovetail gives you the utmost flexibility as far as moving the sight. When this is mounted, you can slide this dovetail back and forth. And what that does is allow you to have the most amount of adjustment to line up the sight housing with the peep sight. You want that peep sight to fit just perfectly around your sight ring right here. And so the dovetail gives you, you know, the 6-inch one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different adjustment points in there. As a general rule, the further away the sight housing is from the bow, the more accurate you're going to be, but also if it gets too far out there, it might show too much shake and cause you to kind of get a punchy trigger. So something to think about. My personal choice has been the 4-inch dovetail, and also the 4-inch dovetails have the 3rd axis adjustment, the same as the Vengeance base, which again is very important. So that's the 4 different bases: standard base, Vengeance base, 4-inch dovetail, and 6-inch dovetail. For the sight housings, you have, this is basically the original standard Flashpoint HD sight housing, very basic. You know, you got fixed pins in here. The level is adjustable on the bottom so that you can set that properly. One cool thing about black gold is they have the photochromatic shell. So this shell right here will actually turn purple as sunlight hits it. And that way, in the middle of the day when it's really bright, you don't got a lot of halo effect on your pins. So the next step up from the flashpoint housing is the surge housing. And really the surge and vengeance, the pin housing and how that works is the exact same. The difference with the vengeance is that it gives you a micro adjust windage and elevation. So on the surge housing here, you've got these two tracks and the pins run on these tracks. So you loosen up the Allen screw, and then you get this little wheel that you can turn left and right, and that's going to move each individual pin up and down. Micro adjust is great for 3D guys if you're constantly changing setups. You know, if you're just a simplistic, you know, you set your bow up once a year and you just want fixed pins and lock them in, I'd probably recommend the flashpoint head. That's what I shoot. You know, it seems like every year, January, February, I get my bow all dialed in, and once I set it, I don't have to worry about it. But if you do like to play around with it more, the micro adjust pins are really nice. So moving on, you got the Vengeance housing, which this is a Vengeance sight here. The Vengeance adds micro adjust windage and elevation. So again, loosen up the Allen screw, and then you have a micro adjust wheel here that will move the sight housing left and right, and then up and down as well. Again, just another nice feature. You know, you're shooting 70 yards and you just need to move a little bit to the left. All you gotta do is loosen that, turn the wheel a little bit, and you're good to go. So that covers the three different sight housings. I do want to talk about the pins a little bit. You can do custom color pins. This one is green, yellow, green. You can do any combination. One of my favorite combinations is go green, yellow, green. It gives me that yellow as my 50 pin. I set mine up 30 to 70. It's just a real quick reference to what your middle pin is. And then I highly recommend, you know, when you go 3 or 5 pins, with 3 pin, do your bottom pin 10 thousandths. On 5, you could do your bottom 2 or 3 10 thousandths pins. And those 10 thousandths pins at the longer ranges really help it so you're not covering up as much of the target and you can see a little bit better. And then also new for 2013, you have the options of different guard sizes. So they have the standard 1 3/4 and the big dog 2-inch. Again, that comes back to lining up with your peep sight back here. If you like shooting a smaller peep sight, stick with the 1 3/4. You know, if you're hunting out of a tree stand or ground blind and you're typically shooting in really low light conditions, a bigger peep sight's going to let more light in. And so that's something to look at. I prefer just the standard with like a 3/16 peep. It's what I've been using for a long time and what I'm used to. The other thing new for 2013 is this is called the Ascent Ambush. And the Ascent, everything from the back all the way to the sight housing is the exact same. The Ambush is just Black Gold's single pin version of this. So it's a single pin. They did a new sight housing, which is really nice. Again, has the photochromatic shell on here and adjustable level in there. Just a great single pin sight if that's what you're looking for. Another option is this rear facing sight tape. The standard Ascent just has a flat sight tape surface right here, and I'm actually pretty used to that. You do, you know, if you're at full draw or not at full draw, but you're getting ready to shoot, you do kind of got to look to the side to adjust it. With this rear facing sight tape, you're just looking straight from behind the bow. You got the needle right there, and you put the sight tape on the back. Either way is fine. I'm used to the standard side tape, and I've stuck with that. The rear facing sight tape is a really nice option to look at though.